here's a piece of Noah's Ark. It's petrified wood. We found this right up on top of the boat-shaped object.
Ron Wyatt, a dedicated biblical archaeologist, spent his life searching for the Ark of the Covenant. Before his death, he made a plea for people to listen to his extraordinary findings. Wyatt claimed to have discovered the Ark in a cave near Jerusalem.
The site where the Ark of the Covenant was known to have been stored in Israel for 2 decades is about to be excavated for the very first time.
Along with other ancient artifacts, his revelations, though controversial, have captivated many and reignited interest in the lost treasures of the Bible. Will Wyatt's final words and discoveries be enough to prove the existence of the Ark, or will they remain a mystery forever? Join us to find out. The life-changing moment. Ron Wyatt never saw himself as a hero or a legend. He was a simple man with gentle eyes and a calm voice. He worked as a nurse, cared deeply for others, and lived with a peaceful heart. But when he took a holiday, he did not rest under shade or sit by the sea. Instead, he crawled into dark caves, climbed dusty hills, and walked through lonely deserts, searching for pieces of ancient stories. He loved history, and he wanted to find proof of the things people only read about. Many laughed at his dreams, but his heart did not shake. Through the years, he claimed to have found places linked to some of the greatest stories in the Bible. He spoke of the crossing of the Red Sea. He talked about what he believed was the true Mount Sinai. He shared stories of seeing stone tablets he thought were the 10 Commandments. He even believed he had seen the remains of Noah's Ark. But none of these discoveries caused as much shock as the last one he ever spoke about. He said he had found the Ark of the Covenant, the holy object countless people searched for across centuries. Long before his final days, Ron said he had seen the Ark with his own eyes. His voice trembled when he described it, not from fear, but from the weight of what he believed he had witnessed. Everything began in the year 1978. Ron was walking near the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, a quiet place filled with old stones and heavy history. As he walked past a rocky hillside, he suddenly felt his arm rise on its own. His hand pointed toward the stone wall without him choosing to do it. Later, he said it was not an accident. He believed something spiritual touched him at that moment. In his heart, he felt a message. This is Jeremiah's cave. The Ark of the Covenant is inside this mountain. Ron froze. He had not gone there to look for the Ark. He was working on something else. But the strange force he felt made him stop. It made him look at the stone wall as if the answers to ancient questions were waiting just behind it. What happened next pulled him into a journey that would take over his life. The official beside him encouraged him to dig. With permission, Ron returned to the hill and began the long, painful excavation. The work was nothing like the neat scenes shown in movies. It was dark, dusty, and dangerous. The air was thin, and breathing often hurt. Ron and his sons crawled through tight spaces that pressed against their sides. They carried away heavy rocks with their bare hands. Dust covered their faces until every day ended with exhaustion. Many nights, Ron wanted to stop. His bones ached, and fear sat in his chest. He wondered if he would ever see sunlight again. But something inside him whispered gently for him to continue. The digging went on for nearly 4 years. 4 years of crawling, scraping, lifting, and hoping. 4 years of bruises, cuts, and tired breaths pulled through thick dust. Still, Ron did not leave. He believed he had been led there for a purpose. Then, in the cold month of January in the year 1982, something changed. Ron pushed aside the last layer of stone and slid into a tight opening. On the other side was a large chamber hidden deep under the earth. The air felt old and heavy, untouched for thousands of years. The space was wide, silent, and filled with a deep stillness. When Ron lifted his light, his breath stopped. Something inside that chamber, resting quietly in the shadows, would change the meaning of his entire life. It would reshape everything he believed, challenge what others taught, and fill his heart with wonder he could not fully describe. So what did he uncover? Let's find out. Inside the hidden chamber, chamber that held the Ark was unlike anything in the world. It felt still, untouched, and filled with secrets too old for ordinary eyes. When Ron Wyatt spoke about this place, he described a room that seemed frozen in time, as if someone had stepped out only moments before he entered. The air felt heavy, and every object seemed to rest exactly the way it once did in the ancient tabernacle, quiet but full of deep meaning. Near the entrance was the table of showbread. Its shape was simple, yet its presence felt strong, as though it had waited through many centuries for someone to find it again. Not far from it stood the golden candlestick, tall and graceful, holding a soft shine that had survived the passing of ages. The golden altar of incense sat close by, still carrying the quiet of the chamber around it. Every object felt placed with a purpose, as if each one belonged to a story held safely in the dark. But nothing compared to the Ark of the Covenant. Ron said it was set against a wall about 12 feet long and 18 feet high. Beside it sat a large stone box with a lid cracked straight down the middle, as if something important had once rested inside it. He believed this stone container had protected the Ark for many centuries. The broken lid left a narrow opening, just enough to glimpse what lay within. Ron claimed he entered this hidden room 4 times. The first time, he was terribly sick with double pneumonia. His body was weak and his breathing was painful. He did not actually see the Ark then. He only felt certain it must be inside the stone box before he passed out. During his second and third visits, he used a small medical instrument to look through the crack in the lid. Through the tiny gap, he saw something golden beneath the dim light, and the sight made his heart beat faster. The fourth visit was different from all the rest. When he entered the chamber again, everything inside had changed. All the heavy stones that had once filled the room almost to the ceiling were gone. The ancient objects were no longer hidden. They were neatly arranged around the chamber, almost as if someone had prepared the room specially for him. At that moment, Ron said he was no longer alone. 4 angels stood quietly in the chamber. He believed they had guarded the Ark for more than 2,600 years. Their presence did not frighten him. Instead, a soft peace settled over him, too deep for words. He said the angels told him to begin documenting what he saw. At the center of the chamber sat the Ark of the Covenant, a golden box with its poles still in place and its cherubim resting gently on top. The mercy seat glowed softly in the dim light. Ron said the angels guided him to remove the 2 stone tablets from inside the Ark. Tablets he believed held the 10 Commandments. The chamber felt alive in that moment, filled with the quiet strength of ancient history. Ron stood in the golden glow, surrounded by objects older than memory, wrapped in a silence as deep as the earth itself. Everything in that room felt as though it had been waiting for him, waiting to be seen, waiting to be remembered. Inside that hidden chamber, the past did not feel distant. It felt close. And for Ron, it was a moment that stayed with him forever. The moment the truth unfolded. The discovery did not begin with bright lights or loud excitement. It started quietly, deep under the earth, in a hidden chamber where dust, stone, and silence had protected secrets for thousands of years. When Ron Wyatt stepped into that still place, he felt something gentle move inside him, almost as if the air itself had paused to watch. His eyes slowly swept across the room, taking in every shape and shadow until they reached the stone container at the center. Inside that container, he believed the Ark of the Covenant rested, untouched and waiting exactly where it had been left long ago. The stone container had a lid cracked straight down the middle. Directly above it, on the ceiling of the chamber, was a long split in the rock. A dark, dried line stretched downward from that crack, across the rough ceiling and over the broken lid of the stone box. The strange trail looked old, older than anything he had ever seen. Ron stared at it, his heart beating faster with every passing second. Slowly, a thought formed in his mind. The crack above the container was not just a random break, it seemed to be part of a deeper opening in the bedrock, an opening that reached all the way up to the world above. And the place above this chamber was no ordinary spot. Ron believed it was Golgotha, the hill where Jesus had been crucified. As he looked again at the chamber, the stone lid, and the dried trail, everything began to connect in his mind. The picture that formed made his breath tremble. He believed the dark substance was blood. He imagined it flowing from the crucifixion site above, slowly seeping through the crack in the rock and trickling down onto the cracked lid of the stone container, then slipping through the opening in the lid and touching what he believed was the mercy seat of the ark. The thought stunned him. Suddenly, the chamber felt sacred, filled with a deep and quiet meaning. For many centuries, priests in the Old Testament sprinkled animal blood on the mercy seat for atonement. But what Ron believed he had found was something far greater. He believed the very blood of Jesus had flowed into this hidden place, resting on the mercy seat in a way that completed the ancient act with gentle, perfect finality. The idea filled him with a soft, trembling awe. Ron said he discovered this chamber in a place he called the Blood Drop Cave, hidden beneath what he believed was the place of the crucifixion. He said the stone above the ark still held dried blood that had once flowed through the crack. He even believed the drops had landed near where he had been kneeling. In that moment, he said something powerful happened, something he could only describe as miraculous. As the story continued, Ron claimed an angel was present in the chamber. Calm and steady, the angel instructed him to gather some of the dried blood and have it tested. To Ron, this felt like a sign. It made him believe he was meant to understand something deeper about what he had found, something that connected the ancient ark and the crucifixion in a way no one had imagined. Standing in that quiet underground room, surrounded by cracked stone, ancient objects, and the golden ark, Ron felt as though history had softly opened its heart to him. The discovery was not loud or dramatic. It was gentle, peaceful, almost tender, but it changed everything. It made the hidden chamber feel alive, as if it held not just history, but hope, sacrifice, and a story that had waited thousands of years for someone to see it. But this isn't the most shocking discovery from that very day. Stay with us. The test that changed everything. The blood test in Ron's story shocked many listeners, including himself. He found something so extraordinary on the stone near the ark that he initially wanted to keep it a secret. However, after identifying the dried substance as blood, he felt compelled to investigate further. He cautiously collected a tiny sample and transported it to a lab in Israel. The lab technicians handled the sample in a standard manner during testing. Their goal was to rehydrate the dried cells for further study. To their astonishment, the cells seemed to revive instead of staying dead and desiccated. The workers in the room were puzzled by this unexpected turn of events because ancient blood is believed to be incapable of sustaining life. Nonetheless, these cells exhibited signs of life as if they had just been dried recently. After the blood was prepared for analysis, the technicians initiated the process of tallying the chromosomes. This routine procedure is crucial in comprehending the composition of any blood sample, yet the outcome was unprecedented. Typically, individuals possess 46 chromosomes in total, with equal contribution from both parents. This is the standard genetic makeup with which every individual starts their life journey. The pattern of the blood sample provided by Ron was different from the expected. Instead of 46 chromosomes, it contained only 24. The technicians identified 23 chromosomes, typically inherited from a mother, along with a single Y chromosome usually passed down from a father. Surprisingly, the sample lacked the remaining genetic material from a father, as there were no other paternal chromosomes present. The technicians were puzzled by this. They inquired Ron about the origin and identity of the blood. Their inquiry created a subdued atmosphere in the room. Ron responded calmly, informing them that the blood belonged to the awaited individual. The atmosphere in the room was weighed down with significance, as if the walls themselves were aware of the gravity of the situation. If Ron's story is true, the main query on everyone's mind is straightforward. Why hasn't the Ark been revealed to the world? Why is such a significant discovery still concealed beneath layers of rock, accessible to only a select few? Let's dive into it. Kept for the right moment, Ron's belief was clear. He stated that the timing was simply not appropriate. In his view, the unveiling of the Ark to the public is not determined by human leaders or governmental authorities. It is a divine moment, predetermined by God. Ron was convinced that this moment was predetermined ages ago and would only come to pass when a particular milestone in history was reached. Ron claims that he encountered angels upon entering the chamber. According to him, they revealed that the Ark would remain concealed until the specific day ordained by God, which is predicted to be close to the end of time. Regardless of others' beliefs, this is the rationale he provides for the silence surrounding the Ark. The Ark will remain dormant until the anticipated moment arrives. It is impossible for it to be revealed prematurely before the designated time. After his remarkable find, the tunnel was said to have been closed off, with restricted access to the surrounding area. Security was heightened and tranquility returned to the site. Ron's discovery did not lead to wealth or fame. He did not seek recognition or admiration from the scientific community. Instead, he endured years of skepticism and censure. Many openly questioned his credibility. Some organizations claimed they had no evidence to support his claims in the region where he conducted his research. Archaeologists dismissed his assertions, contending that he lacked proper training and excavation permits. They argued that his work did not adhere to academic standards, insisting that none of his findings aligned with their own observations. Religious organizations also raised doubts about him. Certain authorities strongly opposed his assertions and stated that he provided no credible proof. Some even labeled his accounts as implausible. Even individuals who followed the same beliefs as him debated that his findings did not align with their interpretation of religious texts. Amidst all the criticism, Ron remained composed. He refrained from engaging in arguments or retaliating with hostility. He merely continued to recount what he claimed to have witnessed and experienced. However, his account remained consistent throughout his life. Without wavering, he persisted in delivering the same message over the years. As he neared the end of his life, with nothing left to gain or protect, his honesty was unquestionable. In his final moments in 1999, he reiterated the words he had been proclaiming for so long. Confidently, he asserted that he had first-hand knowledge of what he had witnessed in that chamber, including the presence of the Ark. According to him, the blood on the mercy seat belonged to Jesus and symbolized the ultimate salvation for those who embraced it. He also predicted that, at a divine moment in the future, the truth would be revealed to all. If Ron's theory proves to be true, it would surpass the significance of any archaeological find in history. It would validate the historical accuracy of ancient texts and demonstrate a tangible connection between the story of Jesus and the physical world. Ron's discovery has the potential to dispel doubt, resolve debates, and shed light on the physical embodiment of Christ's sacrifice within the ancient Ark. A groundbreaking revelation could have a profound impact on society. It has the potential to disrupt political systems, reshape historical narratives, and revolutionize religious beliefs worldwide. This event would signify a significant moment prophesied long ago. Ron believes that this ambiguity surrounding the Ark's whereabouts is intentional on God's part. Its unveiling could usher in a new era and potentially signal the approaching end times. Today, numerous individuals contemplate the possibility of the approaching time. Conflict is erupting in various regions globally. Several countries are gearing up for additional conflict. Belief is dwindling in the hearts of many. Individuals are experiencing exhaustion, dejection, and uncertainty regarding what lies ahead. Aggression is on the rise. Confidence is vanishing. The financial system is unstable. The advancement of technology is outpacing intelligence. The human race is evolving in manners previous generations could not envision. It seems as though the globe is pausing, anticipating an unforeseen event. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.